right, and we are back with another episode. And joining me today, I've got Megan Knight. How are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear you.
So, for starters, Megan, tell us a little bit about yourself and where you come from.
So I'm from Williamstown, New Jersey, but I am also a recording artist in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, and Nashville. So I travel all the time. I've been a musician for 11 years full time now, which is crazy to think about how fast time flies. But yes, I have a new live video releasing tomorrow.
Awesome. And you travel a lot, Nashville. What is your favorite thing about Nashville?
Um, Honestly, the vibe, if that makes sense. Like you walk down the street in Nashville and you just feel this energy and this inspiration that I can't explain, that I do not feel in Jersey, unfortunately. But it's just, I guess, the reason why everybody seems to move there or visit there frequently, because there's just something about it, something special.
Where I need to know that I need to know like all the stuff. I've never been to Nashville.
You've never been?
I've never been.
You have to go. All you need is 3 nights, like 2 to 3 nights. That's all you need.
That's it.
That's it. That is it.
Sounds like Vegas over here.
Yeah, well, it is. You kind of go there to pass out sometimes.
Yep.
I mean, a lot of my friends that have went just as like, you know, an experience, I guess.
Yep.
They come back home and they look at me and they're like, I'm not doing anything for the next 2 days. And I get it.
That is awesome. Yeah, I hear it's a great time. I have so many friends. I have friends who are moving there now. So I guess I have a real reason to go.
Now you have an excuse that you have to visit.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, Megan. So you started music at a young age. Is it something that kind of you grew up like was it in the household, or you just fell in love with it, or how did it come upon you?
So my parents always had music blasting, but there was always a dusty guitar in the corner. And I used to love making videos on my little flip video share, if you know what that was back in the day. But I would just strum the guitar open and sing the karaoke tracks for fun as a kid. And one day I thought to myself, maybe I should learn how to actually play this thing. And Rock Band kind of inspired me as well, because that whole dynamic of the video game growing from being like, at this level to this level to this level, and all the outfits and makeup. I was just inspired in so many different directions of that career path that I just decided to take it on.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
And you also were on American Idol
I was in 2020.
2020, and season 18, I think I saw. And
Something like that. I know they had a new network that took over for them. So technically, I think they called it like season 2 or something, just started recounting.
okay, yeah.
But yeah.
I think you're right. Yeah, something like that. But if I remember correctly, I think I was looking it up there, and I totally remember were you on the boat episode?
Yeah, I sang on a yacht, which was really strange.
It was like because I looked it up and I was like, I totally remember this episode.
Oh my gosh. So I was just randomly selected. Like I obviously you can tell I was caught off guard like that. I couldn't even speak right.
Yeah.
Every time I even think about it, it's like my brain goes back into that mode where I'm overwhelmed because it was so out of left field.
It's yeah, I totally remember that. But tell us about your experience, your whole experience there.
So it was super fun. I wish they would make a show where it kind of showed the whole behind the scenes world of these reality shows, because it's so cool. Like, I wish I took more like video content, but you're so in the moment in those situations. You don't even really think about your phone and like recording everything. But I wish I did, because it was a whole other world than what you guys get to see, you know?
And that's the stuff I love. That's the stuff that I'm wanting to capture.
Yes.
Are there backstage moments that you can, maybe something that you remember, you can tell us that the cameras didn't catch?
Well, so I got selected for a private audition. So they emailed me, a talent scout emailed me and reached out a few times. And I always said I didn't want to do a reality show. So I said no the first two times. And then the third time I thought it was a sign from the universe. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll just give it a shot. And I went to New York with my dad and my uncle and got to sit in this private holding room. So they have the big long line you see on TV.
Yep.
There's also a private holding room you don't really hear about, where it's like the people that got selected by talent scouts, you kind of like fast pass. And I was like, well, that's like kind of an honor to like get this privilege. Like I'm very grateful. And I met awesome people in that holding room. You kind of all get to talk. And my first friend I made was the I Am Sam, I think she went by or whatever. I remember I asked her for a phone charger. And yeah, it's just cool. You just start talking to everyone and hearing their life story, which was cool. And went into the room, sang for the producers, which you sing for producers before the judges, went right through that thing, thankfully. And a couple months later, I auditioned in Washington, D.C., which is for the judges, which everybody thinks that's your first audition, but it's not.
Definitely not.
I mean, even the people that are waiting in that really long line, it's for the producers. It's not for the judges. So when you get to Washington, D.C., you're standing in a fake long line. Like you already made it and you're like waiting for registration, but you know, it's TV. So, but yeah, we were waiting in this line forever and it was so cold. So I guess they wanted to get raw emotion of in the freezing, frigid temperatures, how somebody would react. So we're all standing here like this and we're like looking around and we're getting irritable because that's what they try to do in Hollywood Week and all. They try to make you irritable and triggered. So we're just like sitting here and I'm like looking at there was a yacht, obviously. And I was like, oh my gosh, I want to go on that yacht. It's probably so warm. Do you think the judges are on there? And I'm whispering to my family. There's no cameras around. There's no microphones. I'm just randomly talking for no reason. And I accidentally manifested that, I guess, because out of everyone, I was selected to do that audition later that day. But what you don't see is like 12 hours of interviews before we even audition. Like we had to sing for the producers again before we went for the judges. Like I was supposed to sing Shallow by Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper, but super last minute, they're like, yeah, no, can you sing this song from Once? Like it's big on Broadway now. And I'm like, sure. But of course, people were like, she sang like 3 lines, but helicopters flew over, cut out the whole build. Like, there's so much you guys don't see. Like,
Yep.
my interview was stopped and started so many times, and they didn't even explain my backstory. So it looks like I was some random girl chosen, and they like it was just so strange, but it was fun. It was definitely cool.
Interesting. And what made you said earlier that you would never do a reality show. How come?
Just because I think it has a lot to do with more of the story than the voice. You know what I mean? And when you do originals, which is where my heart lies, they take like rights of it, and I did not want to do that. So I gave in and did like the cover thing. And I don't know, I just didn't feel like me. Like I'm a cover artist is my main job right now. And I'm so grateful for it and love it. But I didn't really want to be known and introduce myself to like the massive public with a cover song, if that makes sense. But I did what you got to do.
Absolutely. And okay, so you made it to Hollywood Week,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
How was that experience?
It was so fun. And I made so many friends, which is great. But as soon as I got there, things were like weird, like where I had so much attention on me in DC, because I guess they like choose everything that's going to happen beforehand. So they knew I was going to be the yacht person. So I did so many interviews while some people weren't doing much. So when I got to LA, I was expecting all that attention again. And people weren't even like talking to me or asking me to interview at all. And I was like, this is weird. My friends that I made, I'm like, this is so strange. Like, no, they didn't take me upstairs. I didn't do anything. But it's because who's ever that spotlighted thing, they already knew in the script. They weren't like going through like in LA, I got like a standing ovation, everything for my song, but they already knew I was going to be eliminated. So it didn't matter if I did good or did bad. Like our names and room numbers for a hotel, once we were eliminated, was already selected before we got there. We came to find out. So I was like, okay, that's cool.
That's crazy. And
Yeah.
so when like not making it through Hollywood Week, did that ever trigger you like that you wanted to stop
Not at
music?
all.
Did it make you
No, not at all. Not at all. I
okay?
mean, it was just an added bonus to be on that show, honestly, and I'm so grateful. And it did give me some exposure. I got to go on our local news station do like a whole segment with them and everything, which was so cool. So it led to so many opportunities I probably wouldn't have had for a really long time unless I had that opportunity to kind of get me to that next step, which I could not be more grateful for. I'm so grateful for American Idol. I'm so grateful for the producers. I'm so grateful for everything and exactly how it worked out, because I did a song that nobody really knew. So I'm not going to be like attached to like a cover forever, which is amazing to me. And the song meant a lot to me because that's one of the reasons I started playing music, was because of Glenn Hansard and Damian Rice. They tour the world kind of like being acoustic and moving people. I just saw him in concert literally a week ago.
Wow.
With Marquetta in the once soundtrack, like they in movie or whatever. And they rarely tour together. And my uncle like surprised me with these tickets. And that was one of the only concerts, him and Damian Rice are the only concerts I cried, because you feel the passion and emotion so much that doesn't even come across in the movie. It doesn't come across in the soundtrack. It's like they're live musicians. When you're in a room with them, they move you in a way that cannot be explained. That is so rare. And I'm grateful that was like what I did if I had to do a cover, you know what I mean?
Great. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Very cool. I'm always like, I want to know everything that happens that no one sees, you know?
Yeah, there's a lot that people don't know. So I always love sharing the experience.
Awesome. All right. For someone who's never heard your music before, how would you describe your sound to them?
So I would explain it, I guess, as innovative in any way possible, because I try to blend various genres to create something new. So everything has a little bit of a country twist to it nowadays, for sure. I like to categorize myself simply as country, but we blend in Americana, alternative, like rock, pop inspirations into it. And I'm recording in Muscle Shoals, so you definitely have that soulful vibe and the undertone, I guess, of a lot of it right now. But I also work for film and TV a little bit, creating music. And I did a State of Mind record, which is very cinematic. So I'm a little all over the place because I'm dipping my toes in various, you have to wear a lot of hats in this industry to make a living. So I do a lot. But as my solo artist career right now, it's definitely focused in the country world.
Awesome. Great. And for artists who inspire you, I know you said you went to those concerts, but do you have specific ones, like one towards songwriting by itself and one towards performing?
Miranda Lambert, I cherish. I love her so much. I love how her personality comes out through her music. I love Chris Stapleton. He's somebody that has so much soul, and the soul comes through his writing, which I really appreciate a lot. So they're definitely some favorites of mine as well.
Love it. Okay. And now, are these artists you're listening to in the car, or what kind of music is Megan Knight listening to?
You would be freaked out by my playlist because it's so all over the place. I listen to indie, I listen to like lo-fi music, I listen to like straight up like pop punk. I just believe if you want to be an artist, you should have an array of inspirations. And my biggest goal all along has always been to never shove myself in a box. I know you need an identity in this worlds, people know what they're getting. But I mean, like Linda Ronstadt never really shoved herself in a corner. I mean, Trippie Redd is like a rap artist, but he's someone that's super innovative and always is pushing past the boundary, where he combines like rap and rock together. And I don't know, I just really appreciate artists that are trying to like break barriers and create something new.
Awesome. Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. And okay, so starting music at a young age, what has been kind of the best advice that you've been given that you still follow till today?
Let me think about it. I think it's just consistency. Like, just don't give up and things will start working out for you, because I don't know. I guess every artist tries to think about what their life would be if they weren't pursuing this. And I could try to run away from this career as many times as I want, but I know it's my destiny. Like, I can't ever get away from it. And, from sticking with it, it's meant to be when things finally start aligning. Like CMT just featured my most recent music video, which was my first one I ever did with a full production company. And I'm like, if I keep up with this, like, I can't imagine what opportunities are still to come. And yeah, my best advice that I was given that I would give to anyone is just be consistent and don't give up. And you're always going to naturally get better and evolutionize as time goes on. Like, just keep being persistent.
Amazing. Awesome. Okay. Now let's talk about your Your new single, Take It to the Grave. Tell us about it, how it all came together.
So, Take It to the Grave. I remember when I was working on this EP that's about to drop, I went into the studio in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, called the Nut House Studio. And I sat with my co-writers, James LeBlanc and Jimmy Nutt, and they said, "What are you looking to do?" And I whipped out my iPhone and I would just go to the archives of all my notes. So I get really inspired by like titles. And from forever ago, I had Take It to the Grave written. And I read that off as one of the titles and they said, "Stop." They said, "That is sick. Let's try to like work with that." And luckily, that's honestly like one of my favorite songs I wound up writing to date. So I'm glad that they like chose that because it was so fitting to what this whole EP wound up being about and everything, that it was definitely meant to be in my eyes. And I feel like it has a very cinematic feel to it. So hopefully there's some TV show placements or something to come with this track eventually down the road. Yeah, I really am like stoked about it because I think it really met that middle ground between my State of Mind EP meeting country, which is exactly what I wanted to do, where it has a cinematic allowance where it could have sync placement vibes, but it's also very like much country and soulful in my mind. I don't know.
Oh, amazing. It sounds great.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And it's available on all platforms.
Yes. And tomorrow on YouTube, there'll also be a live version, which I'm very honored to have Jimbo Hart playing on, which is the bassist for Jason Isbell. They won a Grammy, which is amazing. I'm so proud of them. And Dylan LeBlanc, who's another awesome singer-songwriter, and James LeBlanc, which is one of the co-writers, but he actually just got a placement with Kid Rock with his songwriting, and he's written for Rascal Flatts and Martina McBride, and we have Brad Kuhn, and just it's so grateful for everybody that was featured on that record. You know, like I could not be any more appreciative.
What is your favorite thing about the whole co-writing process?
I've come to absolutely adore co-writing because of the fact that it's like when one person gets like stuck on a thought, it's like the other one can just swoop in right in time and like save you from like going down that rabbit hole of like overthinking. They're like, "Oh no, it's just this." And I'm like, "Oh no, that's exactly what I was like looking for. Like I couldn't figure it out." And that's way better than anything that was like circling on repeat in here. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's like everybody balances each other out. It keeps you from getting stressed out. And I don't know. It just challenges you to think in different ways that you probably wouldn't on your own.
Amazing. Okay. And you get more, where do you get most of your inspiration from? I know you said titles.
Definitely like life experience, reality TV, and honestly just sitting down talking to my friends, or if I'm playing a gig and people like approach me, and a lot of people love to share their life story in those types of environments because music touches people and opens them up, and I love that part of my job. Like the main reason why I got into what I do is because the first time I stepped on a stage and saw what music does to people and how it moves people and how it makes people so happy or feel understood was what kept me going for so long. And I don't know. That's I forget the question, but that's like where it led me.
Basically where you get your inspiration.
Oh yeah, well that's where. From hearing people's stories. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so funny. All right. You do you have some shows lined up people can look forward
I
to?
do. I'm playing the Reeds coming up, which is in Stone Harbor on Friday, which is literally tomorrow. And I'm going to be there like all throughout the summer. And also every Wednesday I play at New Hope in New Hope at the Reeds. I mean, not the Reeds. Odats. It's related to the Reeds. It's their sister location. And I'm playing a bunch of different places in the summertime in Wildwood and everything. And I had to pull it up. I just wanted to credit John Davis for also being on the live session because he is the one name I forgot to mention. And I was like, there's no way I'm leaving this interview without like mentioning it.
I'll mention him. Absolutely.
because we had a couple drummers. So we had a different drummer on the live record, which is Tommy Harden. And I was drawing a blank on the live session. I'm like, there's no way I can leave this interview without mentioning those guys.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Well, you got the shows, you get the live stream. What's next for you?
So the EP will be dropping very shortly as well, which will have 2 more tracks than the singles that we've already released. And I'm also going back to Alabama very soon to work on more singles. So we're going to have music consistently pumping out, and I'm still going to be trying to dabble in the sync placement world and hopefully getting some stuff going on there. Very grateful that CMT got me on the show Racing Wives, my song Fade, not too long ago, and would love to keep doing that as well. So yeah,
just keep doing it. All right. Well, what's your favorite song on the EP and why?
Right now I think it's Take It to the Grave, because it really just like struck a chord within me where I was like, honestly, my co-writers like really dug into, I don't know, like what I was going through at the time. And I'm like, wow, you guys really moved me in a way where you helped me really articulate how I feel, and something about it just feels very therapeutic in that song. And I hope a lot of people can resonate with it. So that's my favorite right now.
Fair enough. I mean, you did say it was your favorite one that you've written. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Last thing, Megan, tell everyone where they can find you on social media.
So my Instagram is Meganite20, and my Twitter is also Meganite20. My TikTok is Megnite20, and my Facebook is Meganite Music, and my website's meganitemusic.com.
Perfect. All right, guys, go grab her newest single, Take It to the Grave. Make sure you check out her live stream, which they might miss it because this might be out later on. But, hey, I'll share it. I'll share it anyway on my.
Oh, well, it's going to be like, it's not even a live stream. It's a live session. So it'll be on YouTube forever.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll make sure we share it anyway. I'll put it down below. And
thank you.
Yeah, Megan, thank you so much for chatting today.
Oh, it's great meeting you. I appreciate you having me.
As well. And yeah, keep in touch and talk soon.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Take care.